Mr. Murray and Rose. I don't know where Rose gone,
Rose
and
has just had to slip out for a
yeah,
minute, but we
we're
hope that
fine,
she will be back.
And good night to the loyal opposition. I want to ask you though, for now, you can you smell me from where you are?
Um,
But don't laugh, Doctor Ferdinand.
I,
Can
I,
you?
I'm taking a sniff.
Uh,
No, I'm not
you
picking up
can
your odor at all.
you? Oh,
Not picking up.
you know, Ferdinand.
I think the popcorn my grandchildren popping is overriding it.
Oh, well, probably, sir. But you know
Uh,
that the pipes, the pipes down by me in St. Joseph, Dr. Ferdinand has been off the whole day, you know. So I'm happy that, we are distance apart and we can only connect via the internet, you know,
well,
because
they probably
yeah,
leave you to go to the beach to bathe,
go to the beach to bed.
Or Joe's River.
But you don't know how big those seas coming in. Mal Jojo, we find out.
I
I would
tell you,
prefer, some massive seas coming
yes,
in the
yes,
Calawash
yes,
area with
yeah,
that
we've had
system
some.
that passed yesterday.
Correct,
It's a
correct.
massive seas, man, big. Scaling coming up the shore. And I know I was here yesterday and we looked at the whole Calawash area and we talked about the whole land use policy and how they want to, block out the whole um, windows to the sea. But that same Calawash area, the same area now where the Chalky Monk bus has to pass, where the what name again? Shorey Village bus, spiced out. Of course, we have now the East Coast Road, you have the Chalky Monk bus, you have the Shorey Village bus, you have the Spicestown bus. All those are now, so we have three buses on different routes for different routes traveling across the East Coast Road. And that main road now in the area of Calawash, Dr. Ferdinand, you know,
But
all of them there was all
I
them
wa-
there this evening was in a mess. A
I want to
mess.
ask you a question actually because I went out for a drive just a couple of days ago up
Hmm.
to St. Lucie, and I began to realize why they're not really addressing the water woes in St. Lucie. Because when I saw the beautiful views to the ocean, I began to realize that there is a plan and a plot. When I saw some of the land availabilities up there in St. Lucie. And then for me to get home, I asked Google Maps for the shortest route home, and it took me along the East Coast. And I want to ask you this question. I don't know if you can answer it, but how long has that work on the East Coast Road as you approach the area where remember Canberra? Canberra was where Errol Barra had his beach house, just up on
Canberra.
the yeah, Canberra, just at the end of the East Coast Road when you turn to go up the hill and you
Yeah.
take the S bend. He had a beach house on the right hand side there. I think it was called Canberra. But how long has that road works been going on there in the East Coast?
That's a very good question, Dr. Ferdinand. But there was quite a lot of. I can't give you the time frame at all, but we
Okay,
had
I
a
was
lot of
just
issues.
wondering. Hmm.
We had a lot of issues. We had a lot of issues with that in terms of the actual paving because it was in chaos for quite a while. And
Hmm.
after it has
Hmm.
been repaved, then they widened the area of the road, and then we had difficulty getting the paintings in the road, and there were vehicles traveling on that road and driving dead left when an actual dead left would have been the area where pedestrians would normally walk. So there was total chaos in terms of the
Hmm.
actual repair of the road. The condition of the road now, I mean, it is in excellent condition. All the paintings are in, etc. So I don't have a difficulty there. I don't know what has been the cause, overruns, etc. But
Right,
nevertheless,
right.
the quality of road that we have now from on the Army Bourne Highway up
Yes,
onto Barclays Park, that road
yes.
is in good condition. But
Well,
we have,
I
yeah,
know coming from
yeah,
the cattle wash area up the Ermyborn to the Barclays Park, coming from that direction, there
right.
seems to be quite a lot of work being done there, like culverts being done to carry water, I guess, into the sea.
Hmm.
I passed through there. I see Ryan Rock is saying that this has been in train for 7 years. I myself haven't been down on the East Coast for quite a while. Like Glenn, I don't know if you have been in the area for any time, but I was quite surprised, knowing that I did know that there had begun some work. I was quite surprised when I got into that area that there was so much diversion. You had to pull off nearly to the onto the sand area and then come back and all
Right,
that kind of
right.
stuff.
Yeah, wherever they're doing the culverts, they're making that diversion, so
Yes.
you just go off and go around. But I must admit that the Chinese are doing an excellent job with those bridges. My observation over the course
Hmm.
of time, they're doing an excellent job. But what is unfortunate that in the Calawash area, we had burst mains right in the Calawash area, right at the
Hmm.
bottom of Hawksville, just that same area where you said the Canberra house was,
Yes.
right? Now, we had a burst main right there, and it took the water authority, I mean, days, weeks in order to get it resolved. And we had a whole lot of problems in terms of water in the area of St. Andrew
Hmm.
and Bashiba and all the surrounding areas. We really went through some real trouble sometimes relative to those water mains in the Calawash area, to the extent that they had to put down new mains along that whole stretch of Calawash. And all those the new mains now that were put in place, I think it is rather unfortunate. I was talking with a friend of mine this evening because we were in the Catawash area. He says he don't understand how these mains are new mains. They were just placed down, and now they're coming now to excavate the road in the Catawash area. All the mains. This is about for the past week. Our water has been off and we're getting massive burst mains in the same new pipes. New pipes were placed down, Dr.
Wow.
Ferdinand, in the
Wow.
Calawash area. New pipes, for practically a mile, new pipes placed down. And all those pipes now practically in the Calawash area. Every day you pass there, you can see mains burst, pipes destroyed.
Wow.
I was there with my next door neighbor early this morning, and she said, I called in, and they told me that they have found the problem, and that the water will be back on soon. And this is some 12 hours after, Dr. Ferdinand, and we don't have a drop of water in the pipe. I mean,
Wow.
of course, we talk
Uh,
about education just now, so I've learned my lesson. When you live in St. Joseph, you really got to count your chickens when you observe the things that are happening around you. So I was able to put a few things in place, and we can survive. At least I can survive. You know.
Yeah,
uh,
you,
So
you
okay,
go
now
ahead.
when
Go
you,
ahead. Glenn, you were
yeah,
saying
yeah,
something there.
yeah. I want to say I really flabbergasted
mhm.
I
about
heard that word in a long time.
the obzocky in which the development or the whole the obzocky. I like to I like when I
I,
can I like to resort to my obzocky
I,
as
but
well.
I
But
haven't heard those two words in ages. With the roadways.
when you talk about the bridges in St. Joseph, I've noticed that at the bottom of Gags Hill, that is one of the roads now that has been earmarked for the diversions. When you come down on the ridge, if you turn right, you're going to be coming on to Gags Hill, and there's been a weight limit placed on that bridge, right? That has been recently erected. Now, I've heard quite a lot of comments from individuals in the area of Melvins Hill relative to what transpired there prior to the collapsing of the bridge. And that suggests to me that all the materials that were transported in the repair of the Coggins Hill, that all that material came via that route. So it is rather interesting that with all of these engineers and experts that we have in the current um, renovation or development of these bridges and roads that the whole concept of a weight limit was not evident for Melvin's Bridge. And right at the bottom of that bridge, there was significant slippage. They were doing some work there in terms of repairs, trying to shore the site from it collapsing. When you go a little further down in the upper parks area, we have a whole lot of gabions that were in place that's also slipping. And it really baffles me. You know, what's the word again there? What's the word there again?
Flabbergasted.
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 No.
You know, why is it? Why is it that for the Melvin's Bridge, and you having all of this big trucks coming over and taking material down, um, heavy excavation of equipment, the whole works, traveling across that bridge down to Coggins because they weren't coming up that hole. They were traveling across Melvin's Hill Bridge, you know, and we suffer this. So after the fact, you're now coming and putting up limits in terms of weight across the bridges. Now, I mean, the pick up the pen because what other options do we have? I passed the area there of Shori Village opposite the Sand Hole, and
Yeah.
if you see the whole long line of trucks, waiting for sand. But what route are they going to take when they leave there? It's either Turner Hall, Dart Hole, East Coast Road, or you're going back via Farley Hill or maybe Cherry Tree Hill. But of course, much of those trucks, in terms of construction, have to be traveling east, and they will be crossing the Geiser Bridge. But we had all systems in place, and we are conscious of the fact that there's been money designated for repairs in the Scotland district. And it really baffles me. Why is it? Why is it that all of these bridges are out of commission
At the same time,
at the same time? That
Um,
that that flabbergasted. That's the word.
that baffles you. That's another one. Baffled.
Why is it? Why is it? Why is it?
but,
We have so many engineers in place, you know,
wait, wait,
and
wait, wait.
something of this nature could happen.
Victor, you were saying.
Yeah, I know. I heard you spoke of the philanthropist earlier in
Mm,
your early remarks,
Yes, yes.
and we have Peter the philanthropist that works in conjunction with MAM,
Uh-huh.
in St. Joseph, right? So that is the kind of culture we have down here. So she talks about the whole concept of neo-colonialism or recolonization, but we're in that all right now, If other parts are not experiencing it, we are experiencing it here in St. Joseph. But I also want to mention that when you spoke about, these acts as it relates to soil conservation, etc., that was an era that we had the chief town planner, and the chief town planner really had an environment of experts around him in so many different facets that control the whole idea of development in this country as it relates to building. But no, 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 MAM has now come into place, and we had a structure where experts would have been there controlling that environment, right? But we have a structure now where MAM has removed the chief town planner, placed herself in position as the minister responsible, and she has placed herself in that position for control. Control because of a dictatorship attitude, because of of the whole um, despotic behavior,
Hmm.
right? But we don't have expertise, and Barbados will be subject to many problems as it relates to not only the damaging of bridges, the slippage of roads, the collapsing of houses, etc. All of that will happen because of a person stepping into town and country planning or planning and development, but don't have expertise, but have placed herself there as a mode of control rather than bringing expertise, just as was being discussed last night.